The coffee cup never hit the floor. That's what people would remember later when they tried to piece together what happened. They'd remember the way the woman's hand moved, impossibly fast, impossibly precise, catching the falling cup midair as if she'd known it was coming before it even slipped. But that was later. In the moment, in the dusty roadside diner off Highway 87, no one was paying attention to the waitress refilling coffee. She was just part of the scenery, background noise, someone who smiled politely, called people Han, and brought food when the bell rang. Her name was Sergeant First Class Katherine Kate Mercer, though the name tag pinned to her burgundy red uniform simply read KATE in faded white letters. She was 42 years old with dark brown hair pulled back in a ponytail and lines around her eyes that came from squinting into distance, though most people assumed they came from age. To the regulars at Rosie's Diner, she was just Kate, the quiet one, the one who didn't talk much, the one who'd been working there for 3 years and had never once mentioned where she'd come from or what she'd done before. That was about to change. 6:47 a.m. The morning rush at Rosie's was predictable. Truckers on their way west, local ranchers grabbing breakfast before heading out to their land, the occasional tourist lost on their way to somewhere more interesting. Kate moved through it all with practiced efficiency, her movements economical and precise. Coffee pot in one hand, order pad in the other. She knew everyone's order before they said it. Frank wanted his eggs over easy with bacon crispy. Maria took her coffee black with one sugar. Old Pete didn't even need to speak. She'd pour his coffee and bring his oatmeal before he sat down. She was good at this. Being invisible, being forgettable. It was a skill she'd learned a long time ago in a very different place, where being seen meant being dead. The bell above the door chimed. Kate looked up automatically. Another habit from another life, assessing the newcomers in a fraction of a second. 5 men, mid-30s to early 40s, leather vests over denim, patches on their backs, a skull with flames, the words Iron Kings MC stitched in red thread, boots heavy enough to make the floorboards creak, voices loud enough to announce their arrival to everyone in the diner. Bikers. Kate's jaw tightened slightly, a micro-expression that disappeared as quickly as it appeared. She'd seen their type before. Men who wore their toughness like armor, who measured their worth in how loud they could be, how much space they could take up. They claimed the large corner booth, the one near the window with the view of the parking lot where their motorcycles sat in a gleaming row. Kate grabbed 5 menus and walked over, her face professionally neutral. Morning, gentlemen. Coffee. The one sitting on the outside, broad-shouldered, shaved head, a scar running down his left cheek, looked up at her with an expression that was equal parts appraisal and dismissal. Yeah, coffee. And make it hot this time, sweetheart. Last place we stopped, it was lukewarm garbage. Kate nodded. I'll make sure it's fresh. She turned to walk away, but his voice stopped her. Hey, where you going? We didn't order yet. Kate turned back, her order pad ready. What can I get you? Give us a minute. We're still deciding. He waved her away like she was a mosquito. Kate walked back to the coffee station, filled 5 mugs, and returned. She set them down carefully, one in front of each man. I'll be back in a few minutes for your order. You do that, honey, the scarred one said, not looking at her. Kate returned to the counter where old Pete was waiting for his refill. She poured his coffee with steady hands, but something in her chest had tightened. Honey, sweetheart, words designed to diminish, to remind her of her place. She'd heard worse, much worse, in languages she'd learned specifically so she could understand the last words of men who never saw her coming. 7:15 a.m. The bikers ordered burgers, fries, eggs, bacon, everything greasy and excessive. Kate took their orders without comment and clipped the ticket to the kitchen wheel. 5 Iron Kings out there, she said quietly to Marcus. The cook, a broad man in his 60s with hands the size of dinner plates. Marcus glanced through the window. Trouble? Not yet. But maybe later. Kate didn't answer. She just refilled coffee pots and wiped down the counter, her movements automatic, her mind elsewhere. Afghanistan, 2009. A village whose name she'd never learned. Her spotter beside her in the hide, a shallow depression carved into the hillside, camouflaged so well that you could step on it and not know it was there. Ghost, you've got movement. 300 meters. East Ridge. Kate adjusted her scope. Her breathing slowed. Her heartbeat steadied. Through the crosshairs, she saw him. A man, 40 maybe, a K-47 slung over his shoulder, walking toward the compound where her team was pinned down. Confirm hostile, her spotter whispered. Kate's finger rested on the trigger. One breath. Two. The decision wasn't hers anymore. It had been made by the uniform she wore, by the mission parameters, by the men whose lives depended on her. She squeezed. The rifle kicked against her shoulder. Through the scope, the man dropped. Her spotter confirmed. Target down. Good shot, Ghost. Kate's hands didn't shake. They never did. Not during, only after. The memory dissolved as the kitchen bell rang. Kate blinked, refocused. The biker's food was up. She loaded the plates onto her arms, a practice juggling act, and carried them to the corner booth. Here you go, gentlemen. Anything else? The scarred one looked at his burger, then at her. This doesn't look like medium rare. Kate kept her voice even. You ordered medium well. No, I didn't. I wrote it down. Would you like me to? I want you to take it back and get me what I ordered. And don't argue with me, sweetheart. Customer's always right. Kate picked up the plate. I'll have Marcus make you a new one. As she turned, one of the other bikers, younger, with a scraggly beard and a nervous energy, called out, Hey, honey, while you're at it, can you bring some more napkins? And smile more. You look like someone died. Laughter erupted from the table. Kate didn't respond. She just walked back to the kitchen, handed the plate to Marcus. Medium rare, he says. Marcus shook his head. That boy wouldn't know medium rare if it bit him. Just make it. Kate, it's fine, Marcus. Really, but it wasn't fine. She could feel something building inside her, something old and familiar and dangerous, something she'd spent 3 years trying to bury. 8:03 a.m. The new burger went out. The scarred biker took one bite, declared it acceptable, and went back to talking loudly with his friends. Their conversation was a mix of crude jokes, exaggerated stories, and casual misogyny that made Kate's jaw ache from clenching. She refilled their coffees in silence, invisible again. Hey, waitress, the young one called out. You got a name, or should we just keep calling you honey? Kate paused. Kate? Kate? That's a nice name. You from around here, Kate? Not originally. Where are you from? Lots of places. Ooh, mysterious. I like that. He elbowed the man next to him. She's playing hard to get. Kate walked away. At the counter, old Pete caught her eye. You okay, Kate? I'm fine, Pete. Those boys giving you trouble? Nothing I can't handle. Pete studied her for a long moment. There was something in his eyes, recognition maybe, or concern. He'd been a Marine in Vietnam. He knew what it looked like when someone was holding on by a thread. You need me to call the sheriff? No, thank you. Kate wiped down tables that didn't need wiping, refilled salt shakers that were already full. Anything to keep moving, because if she stopped, if she stood still for even a moment, the memories would catch up. 2011, Helmand Province, a Taliban commander in her crosshairs. 800 meters, wind from the southwest, dust in the air. Ghost, you're greenlit, came the voice in her ear. She didn't hesitate, couldn't. The moment you hesitated was the moment someone else died. The shot was clean. The commander went down. Later, her CO told her that shot had saved 12 Marines who would have walked into an ambush. But Kate didn't feel like a hero. She felt like a ghost, a shadow, someone who took lives from a distance and never had to see the faces up close. 89 times she'd pulled that trigger. 89 names she didn't know. 89 lives ended so others could live. The bell above the door chimed again. A family, mother, father, 2 kids. They took a booth near the front. Kate walked over, smiling, her mask firmly back in place. Good morning. What can I get you folks? 8:47 a.m. The family ate. The truckers paid and left. The ranchers lingered over coffee. The bikers stayed. They'd finished eating 30 minutes ago, but they showed no signs of leaving. They'd pushed their plates aside and were now just sitting there, taking up space, getting louder with each passing minute. Kate cleared their plates. Anything else? Dessert? More coffee? Nah, we're good, the scarred one said. Then, as she turned to leave, actually, yeah, bring me a piece of that apple pie. And don't skimp on the ice cream. Kate brought the pie, set it down, turned to leave. Hey, I didn't say you could go. Kate stopped, turned back. Is there something else? The scarred one leaned back, his arm draped over the booth. Sit down. Take a break. You've been running around all morning. I'm working. Come on, just for a minute. We don't bite. His grin suggested otherwise. I appreciate the offer, but I need to get back to... I wasn't asking, honey. I was telling. The diner had gone quiet. Other customers were watching now, their meals forgotten. Kate's voice remained calm. Sir, if you don't need anything else, I have other tables to attend to. What I need, the scarred one said, his voice hardening, is for you to show a little respect. We're customers. We're paying. That means you do what we say. I brought you everything you ordered, and I'm ordering you to sit down and be friendly. Kate looked at him, really looked at him, saw the bravado, the insecurity masked as dominance, the need to prove something to his friends. She'd seen it before. In training, in the field, men who confuse cruelty with strength. No, she said simply. The word hung in the air like a gunshot. The scarred biker's face darkened. What did you just say to me? I said no. I'm not going to sit with you. I'm going to go back to work. She turned. His hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. Kate's body went rigid. Every muscle tensed. Her breath stopped. For a fraction of a second, she wasn't in Rosie's diner anymore. She was in a compound in Kandahar, a hand grabbing her during a close-quarters fight. Training kicking in, instinct overriding thought. She could break his wrist in 3 moves. Could have him on the floor in 5 seconds. Could... Let her go. The voice came from behind the counter. Marcus. He'd stepped out of the kitchen, still holding a spatula, his massive frame filling the doorway. The scarred biker looked at Marcus, then back at Kate. Slowly, he released her wrist. Relax, big guy. We're just having fun. Fun's over, Marcus said. Pay your bill and leave. Or what? Or I call Sheriff Mason. And trust me, he doesn't like your kind much. The biker stood. So did his friends. The air thickened with potential violence. Kate stepped back, her hands steady, her mind calculating exit routes, threat levels, response options. Then the young biker, the one with the scraggly beard, noticed something. His eyes had drifted to the wall behind the counter where Rosie kept a collection of photos. Local history, regular customers, old newspaper clippings, and one photo in a simple black frame. A woman in military fatigues, desert camouflage, holding a rifle. Not a standard M4, but something longer, heavier, a sniper rifle. Her face was younger, harder, but unmistakably the same. Holy shit, the young biker whispered. Everyone followed his gaze. The photo showed Kate, 12 years younger, standing in front of a tactical vehicle, with 4 other soldiers. Above the photo, a small plaque read, SFC Katherine Mercer, U.S. Army Sniper, 3rd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, Iraq, Afghanistan, 2007 to 2014, 89, confirmed. The diner went silent. Kate closed her eyes, exhaled slowly. The secret she'd kept for 3 years, the past she'd buried, was now on display for everyone to see. The scarred biker stared at the photo, then at Kate, then back at the photo. You're a sniper? Kate opened her eyes. When she spoke, her voice was different, colder, harder. I was a sniper. 89 confirmed, the young one whispered. That's more than most infantry units see in an entire deployment, old Pete said from his stool, his voice carrying authority. That's a legend. The scarred biker took a step back. Look, we didn't know. Know what? Kate asked, her voice quiet but sharp as a blade. That I'm a person who deserves respect? That before you grab someone's wrist, you should think about what they've been through? She pulled up her sleeve, revealing her forearm. A tattoo, Not decorative, functional, grid coordinates, names, dates. These are the men I killed, she said. Not all of them. Just the ones whose names I learned later. The ones who had families, who had children. The bikers stood frozen. You want to know what it's like? Kate continued. To look through a scope and see a face? To know that when you pull the trigger, someone's father, someone's son, someone's brother stops existing? Her voice cracked slightly. I did it 89 times. Because if I didn't, my brothers would die. Because that was my job. Because someone had to. She stepped closer to the scarred biker. So don't you ever tell me I need to smile more? Don't you ever call me honey or sweetheart like I'm something you own? And don't you ever put your hands on me again? The biker's face had gone pale. Ma'am, I'm sorry. We didn't. We were just. You were just being bullies, Kate said. Because you thought I was weak. Because you thought I was less than you. She turned to address the entire diner. I served 12 years, 3 deployments. I watched friends die. I took lives to save lives. And when I came home, I didn't want parades. I didn't want recognition. I wanted to be normal, to pour coffee, to bring people food, to not be ghost anymore. Her voice broke on the word. But you couldn't let me have that. You had to remind me that no matter what I've done, no matter what I've sacrificed, there will always be men who think I exist for their entertainment. The scarred biker looked genuinely ashamed now. Ma'am, I apologize. Sincerely. We were out of line. Kate stared at him for a long moment, then nodded once. Your bill is on the counter. Leave a tip for Marcus. He's the one who stood up for me. The bikers paid, generously, and left without another word. 9:30 a.m. After they were gone, the diner slowly returned to life. Conversations resumed. Forks clinked against plates, but everyone looked at Kate differently now. Old Pete approached the counter. You never told me you were Rangers. You never asked. Why keep it secret? Kate poured him more coffee. Because I wanted to be more than what I was. More than Ghost. More than the girl who could kill from 1,000 meters away. But you are more than that, Pete said. You're the woman who makes the best coffee in 3 counties. Who remembers everyone's order. Who helped Rosie when her husband died and kept this place running. Kate's eyes glistened. Thank you, Pete. Marcus came out from the kitchen. You okay? I don't know, Kate admitted. I spent 3 years trying to forget, and now everyone knows. Is that a bad thing? Kate thought about it, about the weight she'd been carrying, about the names tattooed on her arm, about the 89 faces she'd never forget. I don't know, she said again. Epilogue. That evening after her shift, Kate sat alone in the diner. Rosie had given her a key years ago, told her she could use the place after hours if she needed to think. She stared at the photo on the wall. The woman in that picture looked so young, so certain. Ghost. The name had fit once. She'd been invisible, deadly, a shadow that struck without warning. But she wasn't that anymore. Couldn't be. That part of her life was over. The bell above the door chimed. Kate tensed, then relaxed when she saw who it was. A young woman, early 20s, Army uniform, private first-class insignia. I'm sorry, the young woman said. I saw the light on. I didn't mean to intrude. You're not, Kate said. Come in. The woman approached hesitantly. I'm stationed at Fort Carson. I'm on leave, passing through. I saw your photo, the one on the wall. Kate nodded. I'm trying to get into sniper school, the young woman said. It's hard. They don't want to let women in. They say we're not strong enough, not tough enough. Kate looked at her, really looked at her. What's your name? Private Melissa Chen. Melissa, why do you want to be a sniper? Because I'm good at it. Because I want to protect people. Because, she hesitated, because someone told me I can't. Kate smiled, a real smile, the first one in a long time. Then prove them wrong. But how? How did you do it? Kate stood, walked to the photo, touched the frame. I stopped caring what they thought I should be, and I became what I knew I could be. She turned back to Melissa. The rifle doesn't care if you're a man or a woman. The wind doesn't care. The target doesn't care. Only you care. So make every shot count. Not because you have something to prove, but because lives depend on you. Melissa nodded, tears in her eyes. Thank you. After she left, Kate sat back down. She looked at the tattoo on her arm, the names, the coordinates. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like running from them. She felt like carrying them, honoring them, remembering them, not as failures, but as choices, hard choices, necessary choices. She was Ghost. She always would be. But she was also Kate, the waitress, the friend, the woman who made good coffee and remembered everyone's order. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Stories like Kate Mercer's remind us that warriors walk among us every day, often in burgundy uniforms, serving coffee, asking for nothing. If you believe in honoring their silent service, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Veterans Past Stories. Thank you for watching.